good.
Yeah.
It's a long way.
Well, I mean, Bert, you wanted to say something.
It's an across-the-board sacrifice. You marry property taxes, the retired TIF districts, utility rates, all of the pieces of the puzzle. Everybody has to have some sweat equity in it. And you couple that with reductions in staff by reassigning people and reducing staff needs in certain places. Like the pay-on-foot system, we've implemented it to the parking ramps, and we're looking at it a third. Like the management contract at the golf course, like the alternatives we're looking at the zoo, like the automatic meter reading that we're looking at for the utilities. Not laying people off, but reassigning them and finding other ways to perform duties so that we don't have that reliance on the retiree health care benefit for new hires. It would be wonderful if AFSCME would just step forward and give us a supplemental agreement like some of the other unions have. Now, we could hire those people in building inspection. We could hire those people in planning. But we cannot commit our children and our grandchildren to that kind of promise when so many promises have been made in the past and no money was set aside. Not any, not a penny. And they threw that at us. If somebody had done this 20 or 30 years ago, just like Sonny said, we would be in a lot better position. Just $1 million a year, we'd have been in a wonderful position today.
Okay, John.
It's clear that there's a lot of ideas to entertain to solve the healthcare or the retiree healthcare. But this is a point where we're expected to perform, but cooler heads are going to need to prevail here. I'm not sure whether this current administration is going to be able to make the decisions, the agreements with the unions, until cooler heads do prevail. Once things calm down and you entertain all these perspectives that all these candidates present, then a decision can be made on what to present to the unions, what negotiations to conduct, so that a solution can be formulated to settle this healthcare issue. Thank you.
I have a thought that moves a little bit past that. Talking about reassigning staff and saving jobs, and God knows after working for 30 years, I think it's very important that you do. But what we end up with then are people assigned to positions that they're not qualified to perform the functions. I see that over and over again. I've seen it from the inside, and I know that the intent is good. And I know that these are good people, often hired for entirely different fields than they're now serving in. Because of that, they lack the vision to get the performance that would bring us to effective, basic core services. They simply don't know the responsibilities or how to make it happen. I'm sorry, Irvin, while it's not just your situation, it's what's happened. And there's a lot of people now in positions and they're just not effective there. Sorry to say it, but
this
it's
is
true.
kind of a good place for me to bring in my suggestion that we can't just tinker around the edges and reassign people here and reassign people there. We need to look completely with new eyes at the whole way we have structured our governmental organization. We are trapped in a 1940s model of bureaucratic hierarchical with lots of bosses all the way down.
I don't think you get any argument from me on that.
And every single management expert and every single business person knows that is not the most efficient and effective way to do it. How do you change that? Well, you don't come in by fiat and say, I'm just going to change it or we're going to move all you people around. You begin to get the information from the bottom, from the folks who are on the ground doing the work on how they can better organize themselves. I'm prepared to do that.
I think it's a little different, though, than a business. A business really works faster, cheaper, better. Yeah. And the nice thing about the market is the market kind of washes that out. You either kind of figure it out or you don't. I think about how productive we've been here at the Chamber just through our use of technology. But in a government system, you talk about changing that and being prepared to do it. That's a pretty big order.
It's a big order. I'm not by any means naive enough to think that that's the sort of thing you do in 1 year. I'm prepared to take the next 4 years to do that, and to do it with the expertise of the people who work there and the expertise of the people who are in the community. 1970s, when Bob Bowden came in to be mayor, the first thing he did was start the Loan Executive Action Program. And the businesses, the business community, the corporate and business community loaned their executives to come into City Hall and to
Interesting
look
idea.
at
Yeah.
how it was structured. And many changes were made then. Well, that was 1970s. It's time. Let's do it again.
We also had a very interesting thing happen there, and I mean, I don't know if it goes back to the 40s, but in the 70s, all the federal money started coming in. When I started with the park department, there was one director. There wasn't one director, a couple associate directors, and then a couple other people running around serving the needs of the associate directors. There were workers in the field. But as the money came in and the responsibility of how to spend that money, all of a sudden we need associates, and we're still stuck with them.
Interesting.
If there's fat, I need to know where it is, because we're bare bones. We're bare bones.
It isn't fat. It's
Let me finish,
reassignment.
Mike, let me finish. We're right to the bone now, and Don knows this. We've cut so much because of cuts to local government aid by the state, the governor's veto, the cost of retiree health care. $8 million we'll budget next year just for retiree health care. Next year, if inflation goes up, what it went up this year, we'll be looking at another 1.2 million in addition to that. And it's just going to escalate exponentially. It's mistakes that have been made in the past that are just causing us a nightmare, and we're having to suffer by cutting staff, 19 more attritions next year, and it's not going to change unless people come to the table and recognize the fact that we have a problem here. It's a serious, serious problem, and AFSCME needs to be part of the solution, and the retirees need to be part of the solution.
I'm not saying cut. I'm saying reorganize. There's a whole big difference.
Let me ask